actually one other thing too, and you showed it there on your map, is the low pressure off the coast. Because we know when these low pressures get super strong, they can actually really enhance the snowfall. So how strong is that one going to get?
This storm system is...
Absolutely. All right, thanks so much, Jim. And yeah, the pre-treating helps, no doubt, but we always focus in on some of the bigger thoroughfares, the interstates, but most of us are traveling through our neighborhoods, and it's those roads that can get really
You can't get
tough.
out of your notherhood. You might better get by on the interstate, but look at the radar right now. So, as Jim talked about, this is what he's saying. There's some splotchy areas with maybe some pockets of dry. I always think about this as like a thunderstorm situation, right? Not everybody gets all of it here. It often comes in patches like this, but we definitely have a decent amount of enhancement on the radar, especially Nashville, east and southeast.
Yeah, it is really coming down in those areas, no question about it. We head north and westbound, and that's where things have lightened up a bit here for us, but that's where we've got some of that cold. Look at the numbers, teens and even some single digits around Kansas City, and it's that air mass which is sliding southbound, which is really going to help to drop the numbers here where we've got the snow coming down pretty heavily now.
Keeping an eye on places like Jackson, where we had 2 inches. That's the latest report I saw out of there. Some of you might have measured 3, and you can see how we're not going to get a ton of additional snow. The heaviest stuff is all now middle Tennessee and Kentucky. But what you have is not going anywhere because these numbers are not going up at all today.
Not at all. There are some of those reports. You mentioned kind of like 2-inch mark here for us. There you go, south of Nashville, Eagleville 2.3, Columbia 2, the Hohenwald area about 1.3 inches of snow.
One spot we've been watching is right along 40 because here around the Madison, Tennessee area, they've had all lanes blocked westbound. An accident earlier. I'm assuming this is still the case this morning where it's been a mess out there.
It really has been quite a bit of a headache here for us. Here we are looking at 40 near Jackson, and you can see some vehicles moving here and there. But nonetheless, really not a good time to be trying to get out on those roads. I mean, it's just not worth trying to get out and potentially running into problems.
So Huntsville just had, 5 or 6 inches of snow earlier this week. Now it's a chilly rain out there. Not to say you can't mix in with a little wet snow, but this event is all happening north of you. I think back to December, right? It was very mild, and that limited part of the fuel that you need for lake effect snow. But the lakes...
Yeah, as the kids might say, they're not leaking like they used to, that's for sure. Let's head into the lab now and get the science behind this event here with our very own Dr. Greg Postel. And Dr. Postel, we're seeing these totals already ramping up. I just saw out of the Buffalo office 9 inches at the airport.
9.8.
9.8, yeah.
Yes.
And still snowing really hard at a snowfall rate, probably 1 to 2 inches per hour. Visibility underneath the quarter mile. That lake effect snow band, guys, is not moving.
Yes, and Greg, so with that situation set up, we know that we're going to be getting in the lake effect snow. It's all about the wind direction. It's got to be optimal. For a city like Buffalo, we have to have that southwest wind. It doesn't happen all the time. A lot of times it's the south towns that end up getting the bigger snows.
Yeah, and we've got that favorable wind direction right now. When you look at the
single day record for Buffalo is 18 inches and change. In January.
Halfway there.
We got a shot
more than halfway there. We have a shot at it.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
I'm with you on that.
If we get a foot of snow on top of what we've had, yes, we're there. We're there. All right, Greg, thank you for that. We're also watching, of course, Winter Storm Garrett, which is underway across Tennessee and Kentucky, and that snow has been coating roadways and temperatures will be plummeting tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. Now, we won't be talking about the feet of snow, but you don't need feet of snow to cause major. So it is just a mess in a number of areas. Let's talk about this chill in the air, and it's more than a chill. This is like...
This is biting.
Frigid.
Yes,
right.
It's rude.
Oh, yeah, it is. Absolutely. I mean, look at the temperature changes here for us. Some cases 20, 25, 26 degrees colder than it was at this time yesterday.
It was so cold yesterday morning, Bismarck. We were talking about, it was, in the 20s with the wind blowing to like 47, so the wind chill factor was sub-zero. And this is even worse. That was bad enough. This is even worse.
Unbelievable here for us. So when we put the actual numbers to show you, there's a lot of below zero readings, below teens, below 20s here for us, not even factoring in just a little bit of wind.
Yeah.
And which makes it, of course, feel it so much worse.
Dangerously cold. The wind chill factor down 30 below Minneapolis, 37 below in Mason City, all the way down to Salina, Kansas. It feels sub-zero, 15 below. But especially up here in the heart of the cold, the Arctic cold, that's dangerous, where 15 minutes or less, you could get frostbite.
Yeah, that's all it takes. So you got to really make sure if you have to be outside, you're doing it for a very short period of time and making sure you're all covered up. Exposed skin just can't handle it. It takes just like that for frostbite to set in.
Don't do anything that might make you get stuck outside, right? If you are driving and you're, in a situation where you get stuck and if someone can't come to rescue you, that's the kind of cold that we are dealing with. So we have these wind chill advisories all the way down into Texas and Oklahoma, Kansas, wind chill advisories for today. The cold air is on the move, and we're going to see that into the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, coldest numbers of the season.
Yeah, for a number of these areas here, all the way over towards Cleveland, you're dropping down into the teens as we get into your Friday morning, single digits in Indianapolis here. So Friday morning is going to be a really, really cold one for folks. It's going to be tough to get out of bed.
Numbers dropping here too. Nashville, Memphis starting off low 30s or upper 20s today. That's the best case scenario for today. And then the numbers go down and we do see teens and maybe even some single digits in Tennessee, certainly in Kentucky. And then those 20s coming all the way down into the south. Look at New Orleans tomorrow morning. We'll barely be in the 40s.
Yeah, so
barely.
This cold is taking over. Now, the snow, you can always avoid it by just staying home, right?
That's true. That's true. I saw in Colorado 30 inches with like a 15-to-1 ratio of snow there, Whiskey Park. So, I mean, that's like the dry, fluffy champagne powder kind of deal. Not as much up here, but this Washington Cascade snow is, a bit more moisture content in it.
Yeah. Watch out, though. Blizzard warnings.
Yeah.
Montana. With some wind and some of that snow, it could certainly cause some big-time issues. But it's going to add up, Jen. I mean, we're talking measuring it in feet.
Yes, 2 to 3 feet in the Northern Cascades. All passes are being impacted right now. There were closures early this morning. I believe that is still the case, trying to get over the Washington Cascades. Spokane, just east of their Dishman, you picked up about 2 or 3 inches of snow already. And there's a lot more to come in with this atmospheric river event.
Yeah, you can clearly see it on the water imagery. Look at the hose directed right into the northwest. And so until we can get rid of that, it's going to be a wet time for us where it's warm enough and where it's cold enough, snowy time.
Yeah, so Seattle, it is rain. It's a chilly rain, but it's rain nonetheless all the way down to Portland as well. In between there is where that plume of moisture is pointed, where some of the biggest totals will be, both with rain and with snow when you get up into some elevation. But we are worried about flooding, urban flooding, and watching for some river flooding potentially as well.
Yeah, no doubt a risk that we'll be facing here for you. So, yeah, wet weather, there it goes, working right through our morning and into the afternoon hours as well. The snow expanding here for you across northern portions of Idaho. But look, even northern Cal is the next batch of moisture comes in, gets in some of this rain on Friday.
Yeah, so we see even on Saturday, look at this, there's more to come in. Northwest here, it is a tough stretch, 3 to 5 inches of rain, and then we go to inland areas, maybe even getting feet of snow up in the mountains.
Ooh, so yeah, it is definitely a rather busy day,
to say the least. So more for you right here on the Weather Channel. You can unpack a new episode of Weather Underground at noon Eastern, right here on the Weather Channel. You have some expert knowledge to help you plan. We'll get the science behind this winter storm, Garrett, going into the lab right now with Dr. Greg Postel and talk about what's going to happen as the storm transitions over into the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Because everyone's worried about this, Greg, right? That we're going to have a backup again like we just had on I-95. What's different this time about the storm?
Yeah, it seems like that we don't quite have the same...
off that car today while it's easier to clear off before it becomes a block of ice. Jim, I was interested to see when else have we had back-to-back snowstorms like this in Nashville. It doesn't happen that often, right? My research took me back to 2016, and that was a big deal for them because they had one event come through with like a ½ inch of snow, and then they had their 8 inches of snow. It doesn't look like an 8-inch kind of snow, but this is, still for us in Middle Tennessee, 3 or 4 inches is a big deal.
Well, yeah, Jen got the backstory.
We were all curious. Jim Cantori, thank you so much. Stay warm out there.
Glad he was prepared with another hat, though, right? Yes. All right, well, let's prepare you for what's to come here with our winter storm. That's not stopping. It's going to be moving north and east, and so we've got more snow to deal with. Into Kentucky, it's going to get a chance to add up. West Virginia, where we could see 5 to 8 inches of snow getting a chance to add up there.
Roads are starting to go downhill in Kentucky. We got to talk about this because now the snow is really starting to fill in. Before it was just so dry, the snow was so light, but it's sticking. So you're traveling 65 or 75 up towards Lexington. There's going to be some accidents. Been watching your traffic, your roads, your traffic tracker looks a lot like Nashville's, which is red and orange everywhere.
Yeah, Nashville's still seeing the upper 20s and snow being reported there. Look at the reports coming in. About 1 to 2, close to 3 inches is what we have seen, at least